Whew. Thank you so much to the person on Twitter or X who just tagged me on this Sterns update. Yes, all these 60 charges. Oh boy, I'm digging into them and it's making me even more upset. So let's talk about the stuff that people aren't necessarily talking about except in the Facebook groups. I love those sleuths over there. Karina Thomas's group is amazing. So I want to talk about this mystery document that I can't open. I just had to go in the bathtub and cry for Madeline after learning how long she has suffered. And we've got all these notes now. I might as well just keep them right here. This is horrible. All these counts, 60 counts. Yes, it's horrible. Thank God they caught him. Stephan Sterns, if you don't know the case, he's suspected of doing away with his 13-year-old stepdaughter, Madeline Soto. Her mother is Jennifer Soto. We don't know what's going to happen with her. Reportedly, it was 2018 when Jennifer Soto met and started dating, reportedly, Stephan Sterns. Now, we don't have hard proof of that in terms of an affidavit somewhere when they actually met, but the very first date of offense listed is the very next year, as early as June 19th, 2019. In terms of the offense date, in terms of the actual court documents, what cops have found, Stephan Sterns committed some type of offense against a child. Now, of course, they're not naming the child in all these documents. However, Madeline Soto's date of birth is February 22nd, 2011. That stopped me then too, because I'm like, this little baby, she was only 13. She just turned 13. February 22nd, 2024. So she was just born in 2011. And that same birth date has been showing up in these court documents. So we know she's the victim. Whether she's the sole victim of Stephan Sterns, we don't know yet. But cops have evidence, therefore, since she was an 8-year-old girl, that this man has been doing inappropriate things. We don't know what the photos show. We don't necessarily know exactly what the photos show and what the video shows, but we know it shows a child performing things that a child should not be exposed to. I'm going to try and get through this without crying because I just think of how long she suffered. Now, Jen met Stephan supposedly the year before. If she met him in 2018, imagine if she met him in January 2018. I mean, little Madeline would have only been 6 years old. She would have turned 7 years old, February 22nd, 2018. He might have started messing with the little girl then. He might have seen Jen, thought, oh, she's, the type of woman who has issues. I can get over on her. She has, mental concerns. She has so much going on, and I'm really grooming her daughter. So this girl might have been 7. Stephan might not have been so bold and horrific as to put it on video or on his phone, or who knows if he had a different phone back then. We don't know. This misuse of this child could have started when she was a 7-year-old or even a little bit younger, depending on when they met in 2018. But we know in terms of hard evidence, in terms of what the cops are giving us, you can go to the link yourself. I'll leave it below. The Osceola County Court Clerk's website. It is, I can't even get to some of the stuff I want to get to. There's this report, and I don't know why I can't get to it. Information, 36 pages, PDF it's supposed to be, dated March 11th, 2024, and I can't get to it. I'm praying it's not CP. I pray they didn't accidentally put incorrect images up. I was able to download the PDF showing Stephan does have an arraignment schedule. That is just the formal reading of his charges. Let's hope there's a murder charge on there by then. This will take place April 2nd, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 4F before Judge Keith Karsten. I don't know how Florida is about streaming things online. We'll check and see if that judge has his own YouTube court channel or what have you. So I don't know why that document won't open. 400 images. That's what I want to talk about. At least 400 images. So the first counts tell us horrible things. We can break down these 60 counts to see what they tell us. And what they're telling us is that Stephan had at least 400 images, at least 400 images that cops found. Were they all of Maddie? I don't know. Who took the images? That's something they've been discussing. People are assuming, oh, there must have been a third party there taking those images. They might be right. Stranger things have happened. We'll touch on this horrific case in Utah in a second, kind of in a similar situation. Thank God that girl survived, but she's going to need a whole lot of Jesus, a whole lot of therapy to get through what her mother and her stepdad put her through. More on that in a second, but you don't need someone in the room, obviously, filming you. You don't need a third party. Right now, I have this, it's kind of like a tripod of sorts. It's a light, and then I have this little hook. My iPhone is attached to the side of the light. It's kind of rejiggered up there, and
rejigger.
I'm filming myself right now. So he might have used a tripod. He could have used, he could have just been holding his phone or whatever and filming these despicable acts that he conned or coerced or forced Maddie to perform. So maybe a third party wasn't there. But we also have proof, too, according to Stephan's own sustenance Reddit account. He posted a photo of Maddie calling her his girlfriend's 9-year-old daughter on Saturday, October 31st, 2020, Halloween. So she was 9. He was obviously feeling comfortable of posting photos of her on Reddit. She's just, she painted this little thing and he was bragging on her or whatever. But what were the photos that we never did see, that we don't want to see, that he had been taking since then? Okay, let's look at these first counts. So we have counts 1 through 8 are all battery on a child under 12. And they have the offense date, and the earliest offense date is June 19th, 2019. So that's obviously the metadata. You can look up, right click, get info on a video or a photo, and they can tell exactly the date and the time and everything it was taken. So I'm assuming it looks like it's going in order. June 19th, 2019 was the earliest they found. And believe me, if Kissimmee cops or whomever would have found earlier photos or videos, they might exist out there, they would have published that too. So she was still under 12 at that point. Counts 1 through 8, battery on a child under 12. So that stops at all the way from June 19th, 2019, and it's going, July 2nd, 2019, July 12th, 2019, July 22nd, 2022. So there's this gap in there, 3-year gap, but do you really think he stopped doing it? Maybe he deleted those or scrubbed those in a different way. If there are images in between, he might have gotten rid of those in a different way than he did the others or what have you. Who knows? But these are probably the only ones they could find. And it goes from July 29th, 2022, August 2nd, 2022, August 2nd again, 2022, all of these battery dates. So these are the actual dates. I'm assuming they have like a video that identifies Stephan. You know how they talked about his member and that pink skin or a distinctive marking. And so somehow they must know that's Stephan. They can look at him and prove it's him. And I don't know how much of Maddie is in the videos or photos, but I'm sure they can prove it was her. And then they talked about on the news how it took place in a room. You can look around and people can see what room it's in and match it up in real life with the condo. Okay, so we have that August 2nd, 2022. We have a couple of battery on a child under 12 on that same day. So maybe it was 2 separate videos. I don't know. August 15th, 2022. Then counts 9 through 13 are battery with a child 12 to 18. Familial custodial authority. He was in a position of authority over her, supposed to be taking care of her, just acting like a real dad, and he was not. So we have offense dates. By then, yes, Maddie had turned 12. She was 12 years old by June 14th, 2023. And that's the first offense date that falls between a 12-year-old and an 18-year-old, those set of charges. So June 19th again, there's Juneteenth again. What's this guy about? Holidays or something, birthdays? You know, people think something special happened, unfortunately, on the day Maddie was celebrating her 13th birthday. I don't know what they did actually on the 22nd this year to celebrate. It sounds like Jen was mumbling something about that, but I don't know. Did they have a party for her at all that Thursday? And then that Sunday, you know, when she was over her grandma's celebrating her birthday, by the time she came home, you know, was it like, oh, Maddie, you're a teenager now. Oh, something special, you know, and did it get out of hand? Were drugs involved? These are the only reasons people speculate. Was she impregnated? All these things we are doing not to disparage Maddie. We are not gossiping about a victim, as some people say, which I don't necessarily understand their line of thinking. None of us wanted this to happen to Maddie. We didn't want any of these things she had to suffer through at the hands of this demon for so many years. And did she tell her mom? Maybe. I'm going to go either way on that again. But let's get through these charges. So we went through charges 9 through 13, which are battery with a child from ages 12 to 18. There was June 14th, 2023, June 19th, and that's Juneteenth, 2023, June 23rd, 2023, June 26th, 2023, June 29th, 2023. Okay, now we have charges 14 all the way through 20. That's lewd or lascivious molestation. So those dates, again, here's the June 19th. Here's the Juneteenth offense date again of June 19th, 2019, July 12th, 2019, and of course some of these are the same day, different charges for the same day, the same event, whatever they can charge them with. Go for it, police, thank God. We've got June 22nd, 2022, July 22nd, 2022, July 31st, 2022, July 25th, 2022, August 2nd, 2022, and then March 21st, 2022. Those are all the lewd and lascivious charges. Now, this is where we get into the bulk of the charges. I won't read all these offense dates, but the thing that some brilliant person noticed on Facebook was the actual charge. Each charge is because it depicts this performance by a child, 10 or more images. Okay, so these are counts 21 through 60. Starting with 21, by the time you get to 60, that's 40 counts. So we've already read the initial 20 counts of different stuff. The next 40 counts each are because he possessed unlawful possession of materials depicting this performance by a child, 10 or more images. At first, when I blew by that, I was thinking, oh yeah, age 10 or older or something. But no, this is 10 or more images for each count. So for each of these 40 counts, he had 10 or more images of a child performing something they shouldn't know anything about. So that's 40 times 10, 400 images at minimum. And I don't know if any of those include videos, and they're just all the dates. I'll put on the screen what I can, kind of maybe over top of me. Boy, that website was getting a workout, and it is just not giving me. This Osceola Court Clerk website is getting a workout. It took a long time to get on there and search for the case. I see his arraignment April 2nd, so we'll be watching for that. I saw his previous listing for his weekend initial appearance. It was exactly a month prior to his arraignment on March 2nd, 2024. But when you get to this 36-page document, I don't know if it's because too many people are trying to hit this thing right now. I've tried on Safari, I'm trying on Chrome. You go into the case and it lets you first click on the green part where you're supposed to put it in the viewer, and then you click on like the little eyeball thing, and that's how it brings up the PDF and lets you download it. But for this 36-page information mystery, it is not working. Maybe it'll start working now. I'm trying Chrome again, but it shows a little locked for some reason on Safari. On Google Chrome, when it finally does download, it's just like a blank PDF I don't know what that 36-page document is. If anyone knows, please let me know. I hope they didn't accidentally upload anything they shouldn't have uploaded. Did Jennifer Soto know what Stephan was doing? Now, it's very easy to say, sure, of course she did, because this happens so often. But then the other part of my brain is like, do you really know? Does every wife or girlfriend know what the heck is on their boyfriend or husband's phone? No. A lot of people just don't snoop. You know, some people do, some don't know the passwords. There could be anything on there. We know in the case of Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger used that secret calculator app. So I don't know where they found these images, but if he was using something that was secretive, you could have looked at his phone. It might have appeared as if it were a calculator app. And only if you go in using a certain combination or whatever, then the images come up. So we don't know. Remember how long it took cops in Colorado to find Nikki and Chris's images? I mean, that crime happened in August 13th, 2018. A lot of stuff came out in discovery at first when Chris Watts pled guilty, and Nicole didn't tell them anything about that secret calculator app. All those images of them, they didn't send us all of them in discovery, just the ones that could be published publicly, just them and the sand dunes or whatever. They didn't come out until May 22nd, 2019. I remember these dates in my head because that's how long it took to crack the code to find that secret calculator app. Thank God they found this stuff from Stephan earlier so they could arrest him, nab him on this, and just wait, compile all the evidence. They're still looking for evidence to figure out, okay, who else is involved here? This just won't open this document, so I'm going to give up for now. But the city of Kissimmee, talking about these 60 new charges filed against Stephan Sterns, they call it a complex case with many facets. This is what the Kissimmee Chief of Police, Betty Holland, is saying. She says our work is not done, and we are continuing our investigation into the timeline leading up to Madeline's death. So yes, it takes time. Sometimes all of these, companies, because of privacy concerns and just the time-consuming nature of going through stuff, they don't want to play nice. They don't want to just immediately give up everything to the cops as they subpoena it. And who knows, was he on the dark web? Was he using a Tor browser? What the heck was Stephan doing with all these images? So, what did Jen know? That's what I want to get to. She met this man. Now, the part of my brain that says maybe she was being naive, she didn't know anything, they were on again, off again. Yeah, it's come out. Maybe they were just a freaky couple. And yeah, was she just so desperate for this father figure for her daughter that she just trusted Stephan to come in there and pick up the slack? The part of me that wants to believe, oh, she didn't know anything, is the part of me where I've read in the Facebook group where they talk about, and thank God for that Facebook group, for the women, able to break down these charges to let me see, oh my goodness, this dude had 400 images or probably a lot more of some child performing stuff that shouldn't be performed. Anyway, the Facebook group also they also bandied about Jen's medication and whether or not she was over-medicated. There's rumors going around that Jen allegedly took some type of psychiatric medication or what have you. I don't know her exact conditions. I've seen her post herself about bipolar conditions, depression, looking just like she's been through rough days. She's posted this herself. So allegedly, this person said that the way Jen was prescribed this medication, instead of taking just part of it in the daytime or part of it in the nighttime, she took all of it in the nighttime. Either she was over-medicated, misprescribed, what have you. Maybe she took it wrong herself. It would knock her out to the point where she had problems, allegedly, waking up in the morning. If this was a habit that Jen was into, I don't know her work schedule, I don't know anything. If she was in a habit of taking some medication so strong that it knocked her completely out at night, the type of person who doesn't hear anything and is not moving and they are like propofol out, well, Did Stephan take advantage of Jen just being so sleepy and knowing he could move about and go sneak off to Maddie's room without being heard, without Jen stirring? That's a possibility. You know, I'm not going to immediately say until the cops say what Jen knew. Did she know what was on Stephan's phone? Maybe not. Did she know that Stephan maybe was sneaking off into a room, you know, to do this stuff with Maddie? Did he do it while Jen was at work? That's a possibility. Or while Jen was knocked out on these whatever drugs she was taking. That's a possibility. So part of my mind is like, okay, maybe there are things she didn't know. But the other part of my mind, of course, innocent until proven guilty in a court of law or a confession comes, the other part of my mind wants to follow what other people are saying. Didn't she notice something was wrong with Maddie? Did Maddie make outcries like people are saying? Maddie might have told her friends. We saw from her best friend saying her stepfather was very mean to her in 2022. We listened to that translation. Did Maddie really make outcries to any teachers, to her mom first and foremost? And did Jen just poo-poo it? Or, you know, reportedly, that's why she's in hiding. There was a photo, reportedly, allegedly, of Jen's car, and it had the evidence marking tape still on it. You could tell, but she might be hiding out at her sister's somewhere. I don't blame her because people are very angry. Other part of me is saying, didn't Jen notice something was going on? Even if Maddie was threatened, even if, you know, Stephan is like, look, don't tell, or else I'll harm you, or I'll harm the animals, or I'll do whatever, something to whatever. Didn't Jen know something was still off with her daughter? Something was going wrong? Didn't she notice anything? And the part of me that goes towards the camp of, yeah, Jen knew and she just chose this man over her daughter is this latest case in Utah. And I won't name these people, but the docket on YouTube, he got the PDFs. And yeah, I agree, these parents should be named and shamed. I think their names will come out. Right now, people in other publications are saying, oh, we don't want to name the parents in this situation. They've published the account of what happened in Utah. It's like a Maddie situation almost, but thank God the girl survived. Okay. They don't want to name the parents because then people will know who the victim is. So I've been, you know, looking them up and everything, but I won't name them either. But it's crazy. This mother, and she was pregnant with her own biological child, apparently. And soon after, I guess she gave birth, or at some point in there when the baby girl was young, she married this man. And I think they have about maybe 4 children in total. I'm not sure. I couldn't even finish reading all these PDFs. But this mom, so-called mom, and stepdad, basically, they did things to the girl, both of them, that they shouldn't, claiming, they wanted to teach her, basically, it's better to learn about lovemaking or whatever. You know, you can't even call it that, but it's better to learn about that stuff while you're at home. They tried to gaslight this girl into thinking what they were doing to her was okay. And the mom, even sodomized her own daughter. I mean, what the heck? What the heck? What else can I say about this case? So thankfully, both that mom are arrested. I tried to get their body cam video. We'll see what happens with their arrest. This document. The document finally came. Okay. Let's see if we find anything else. That took a very long time. Are you downloading? We'll go through it in a second. But back to that Utah couple, I looked at their photos. You would think nice little happy family. I think it was a mom, the dad, stepdad to the oldest girl. This is what bothered me too. It literally said in the PDFs the last time this girl had been mistreated by wrong relations with her stepdad and her mom was right there, I guess in the bed all together, was just March 6th. So I haven't even read that whole thing. Somehow, thankfully, she escaped. She was listened to. I believe she might have been around 13 also, just like Maddie. I'd have to go verify. But thankfully, she was able to escape and get away from her mom and stepdad, and nothing worse happened to her. She escaped with her life. I'm assuming, the children had to be taken and removed somewhere. But seeing what that mom did to her own daughter and allowed, the stepdad to do, makes me think, Jen could have been, I don't want to defame anyone, so I'm being careful with my words and I'm giving everyone the benefit of the doubt. It's just that other case showed me what's possible. Some people are like, oh, no, Jen couldn't have known. And some people are like, yeah, she knew Fryer and all this stuff. But okay, this 36 pages, I probably won't post it, but it's the state of Florida versus Stephan Michael Sterns, and it just shows all of his counts again that we just went through, and it's just showing the gross stuff he did. It's talking about on or about the 19th day of June in 2019, Stephan Michael Sterns basically did, in violation of this Florida statute, commit battery upon a female identified as, and it's blacked out, a person less than 12 years of age. And furtherance thereof, Stephan, with his member, penetrated the mouth of a female identified as, and it's blanked out. When you think about that, and you think about this little girl being 8 years old, and you start reading details like that, like, I'll just kind of, yeah. And then it's saying the 12th day of July, 2019, he committed battery upon a female less than 12 years of age and with his member either penetrated or had union with the organ of a female identified as. So the first was June 19th, 2019. At least the first they have evidence of. And this is sounding more like a video, but potentially it could be a photo, I guess. And they just kind of are going through things where it sounds oral at first, and then he must have moved on to, they call it the union of the organ of the female, and so that's by July 12th. So it's kind of going back and forth that way. Oral, July 22nd, 2022, July 29th, 2022, oral things they're talking about. So it just gets, just kind of going back and forth. Oh, goodness. Okay, so by August 2nd of 2022, they're talking about Sterns. So they're talking about the rectum, basically. So you can imagine his member. It just gets... So in essence, they're going back and forth, speaking of oral things, anal things, and, you know, to think of a child. Yeah, it's hard, because I just was able to open this. So he's supposed to be in the position of a custodial authority, a familial authority. So that's what he's doing. Yeah, and I just hate that she's just suffered for so long and for so often. Yeah, it's kind of just going back and forth through that same type of battery. So in essence, this 36-page document or what have you is just kind of describing the counts in more detail, because they have to, for a jury has to know the horrific. We hate to hear it. We hate that Maddie, if this is all Maddie, which I'm assuming it is, experienced this so often with that monster like her mom. Oh, this is really triggering. Just trigger warnings. I'm so sorry to who's ever been through this. And they're talking about he intentionally forced or enticed a female identified as blank to touch his member in a lewd or lascivious manner. Oh, this reminds me of that. Remember that Stephen King book, Dolores Claiborne? And just that one scene where they're on the boat and it's like similar to that. And it shows you just, ugh. And they're talking about the breast of a female. It's just like she's just a little girl. The buttocks of a female, and just clothing. And it's kind of hard to read this because they go into detail. Different parts of the female who is really just a child and what he's doing. Okay, everything I just look over at, it's like they're talking about Stephan's finger. They're talking about it in relation to the organ of a female. So they're going through each count. Oh boy. They're talking about sadomasochism. Oh goodness. They're talking about animals. This just gets worse the more I scroll. It's saying the state attorney charges that Stephan Michael Sterns, between the 2nd day of July 2019 and the 26th day of February 2024 did violate this Florida statute by possessing any photo, motion picture, exhibition, show, representation, image, data, computer depiction, or other presentation to wit, which in whole or part Sterns knows to include any conduct by a child, and in doing so possessed 10 or more images of any form of CP, and the content of at least one image contains one or more of the following: a child who is younger than the age of 5, or the sadomasochism, battery, bestiality, any movie. So it contains at least one of the following. We don't know which one of the following of those listed it contained, regardless of the length and regardless of whether the movie contains sound. So that's what it actually says. Whew, this thing, I don't even know if I want to. Basically, that's repeated. That same line of what I read is repeated. So it's, maybe the jury, of course, might get more details about what he actually did. But this is, yeah, I'll just leave the link to the courts.osceolaclerk.com. All you do is you type in Sterns, Stephan, and you say like, I'm not a robot or whatever. Go through, you can click the plus sign under his open case, and it has different information, and there's a point where you can look at the docket and look at the documents, the ones that they allow you to look at, and you can click the little copy sign where it looks like two papers on top of one another, and put it to the viewer, and then you click the little eyeball thing, and then it'll eventually open this PDF if you want to read through all this yourself. But it's just triggering. But I know, thank God the cops found all this. They're going up through all, that's why it's so long now, because it's just all these counts. Yeah, I won't even, all the way up to count 60. And there you go. So that's what I was looking for, and that's the details. Ugh. What else can I say about him? Just, I hope another count is added, and that count is taking Maddie's life. Will that be added under Stephan's, or will that be added under another person's? We don't know. Ugh, that's just too much. It's just too sad. No wonder people are so angry, because they're feeling the anger if it's men or women who unfortunately went through such abuse themselves growing up, and they knew, I know people, they say, I told my mom and she didn't believe me, or, people will say they tried to reach out, they tried to get help. Some people didn't get help until they were much older, and that's why it's so triggering, because we see Maddie's beautiful face, and it's almost like her schoolmate said, he was like saying, I didn't even know something like that could happen. And that's how it should be. The innocent life of a child should be that they don't even know stuff like this exists. You should only know home being a safe place where you just get food and love and comfort, and not all this stuff. So many counts. We'll see how far they go, if they belong to any type of a ring. Did Stephan distribute these somewhere? Will they tack on more charges? Will they bust more people? I know there was a bust kind of nearby. We don't know if it's related or not, but I think it's time to close with Ezekiel 3:9. I have made your forehead like emery, diamond, harder than flint. Do not be afraid of them, or be dismayed before them, though they are a rebellious house. Stephan seemed pretty rebellious. People have been reading through his Reddit posts, and there's a whole psychological factor there, boy. He obviously was rebelling against God's wishes of how you care for a child, and you don't groom a child and do all this horrible stuff to a child. You don't seek out a mom just because she's a single mom and has a child and do all this dirty stuff. And any moms who knew, like the mom in Utah, knew what the stepdad was doing and even participated. Good Lord. Talk about rebellion. Yeah, that's pretty rebellious. Well, now that it's exposed, thank God Stephan was caught. I pray he never sees the light of day. I pray they can get more correct charges. I know it takes time to gather all this info. Get the correct charges on there. Everything, get everyone involved and shut him down. Get him in court in front of a jury of his or her peers, his and her peers, if it turns out that way. Or will Jen flip on Stephan if she knew anything to be able to help convict him, or what the heck? I don't know. Ugh, it's just so sickening. It's like, you know, that feeling in your throat for Maddie. Just, she is in a place where she will never be harmed. And I pray she's experiencing all the love God and Jesus have for her right now that she should have had on earth. Just off, walking a little puppy, getting ice cream, all the stuff that little kids should do, and not all this crap. So that was surprising. Thank God they got him. God bless the cops for doing their work. Stay tuned. We'll see when this deviant will show up in court again. Maybe there'll be another arrest before April 2nd. Take care.